Okay, this is a meeting, a working meeting of the Wellfleet Select Board, Monday, October 20th. Time is now 6:05 p.m. Um, we will not be taking public comments at this meeting. Um, so with that, we will go right into the subject of the meeting, which is the setting of goals. And who would like to start off?
Maybe.
He's trying to reconnect with his phone, whatnot. Do you want me to share the
Mr. Chairman,
goals that
maybe
I
for some
have?
background.
What's that?
Did you just say background, Tom?
I just asked if anyone could hear me.
Here
Yes,
and
I
there.
can.
You're real.
Sort of in and
Can you
out.
try stopping the video on your end? Sometimes the extra bandwidth
Yeah, hold on.
gets a little bit better.
Let's
Looks
see
like
how
you
that
froze
is.
too, Ryan.
So Tom, talk to us for a minute or two and make sure that
Yeah, I
we're
can't connect with my phone, folks.
Yep,
Can hear you.
You
we
sound
can
good
hear
now,
you
though.
there. So can you just talk for a minute or two and make sure that we're catching it? Hmm. Yeah.
I can try to do that.
Oh, no, that's not working.
Telling me that my network bandwidth is low. It's going out.
It's really not working.
So I don't know. The phone doesn't.
Maybe we can move on, and Tom, maybe if you want to maybe drive to the library, pick up Wi-Fi from the library, that's usually pretty reliable. But,
And through the chair, I don't know if John Bugby was involved in any of the work that Tom did to prepare for this as an alternative to Tom explaining it, but I don't mean to put you on the spot, John, if that wasn't part of what you were working on.
I can give a quick overview on some of the things we talked about jointly. I certainly don't have the expertise Tom has in terms of setting the goals, but I think you got a memo from us, and what we try to do is just give an overview of all the topics we're working on. But rather than getting to that, was there a memo beyond the memo that included all the projects that I haven't seen? I wasn't there today, unfortunately, to compound the problem, but go ahead.
The packet has the October 16th memo, and then it has the next document is select board priorities for time period 2024 to 2025 and beyond.
Right.
And then there's draft goals, FY 2026. So I don't know if that's where you guys started.
so Barbara,
John, there's no new, yep, John, there's no
If I could
new.
could I just say,
Go ahead.
my hand is raised, if I could just say, Tom sent what we did last year. What were the goals that were discussed for I guess from 24 through 26. I remember participating in one of these meetings when I first came on. So Tom sent us that, and then Josh sent us his, which I thought was pretty along the same lines. It just was more spelled out.
Yeah, both Josh and myself
Right.
admitted
Yeah.
our goals.
Okay.
So maybe we should review some of what we said we were going to do. I don't know how you want to start, but what did we get done, if anything?
Why don't I give a real quick overview on the memo that we wrote, real quick. So the memo that you look at, we tried to prioritize capital projects, and then hold on one second. With wastewater being number one, staff vacancies. Well, I'm not going to read it to you, but I think the idea was to hand this over to you and have you have that discussion as a board about setting goals for next fiscal year.
If I could propose just a way to get started, I know Mr. Curley sent his ideas as well, and I think there might be an opportunity to maybe merge the two, but I'm happy just to share my screen of how I outlined it. And we
Sure.
can just go through it line by line, and we can discuss as a board whether it's a top priority, if we want it to be a goal, if we want to deprioritize it. Is that?
Before we do that, do we want to, I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm not saying we must, but I'm just asking, do we want to go over what Tom put together and see what we've accomplished and so forth? Just sort of an overview, or do you think there's any value to that? I think there would be, but
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Admin prepared this for us, so I think we don't have to devote the majority of time to it because we do
No.
have, contributions from from members of the board, but they did put it together for us, so.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, if you want to sort of set a, maybe not a time limit exactly, but just keep an eye on how much time you want to spend on this before we move to the others.
Well, I think we should be able to evaluate what we've accomplished on this
Okay.
list and what we haven't with, in 10 or 15 minutes, I should think.
Okay, yep, that sounds good.
And Mr. Chairman, it's John Bugby one last time.
Yeah.
I think what we'd want to know, that is the list of items we're working on. I think what we would want to know from you, are those the goals for the board? And are there goals beyond what's listed that you want us to be working on that maybe aren't there, or have evolved since the time we wrote this, which is kind of like a backwards looking list back to when Tom arrived and I arrived. So the list is all encompassing, but but what we need to know is, yes, that's what we're working on, but are these your goals, and how do you prioritize what's listed? That's all.
Okay, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
These are all things that were thrown out, and I remember some who did some of these out there. I think, I mean, they kind of go in line with, and then it goes into the select board priorities for the time. I think I'd rather maybe start there, since they were our goals. The wastewater treatment plan, the mapping, establish a board of commissioners. Okay, well, we did that. We got a
Wait.
management plan.
Wait.
Somewhat.
Can I interrupt for a sec? I'm looking at the October 16th memo. So
Mhm.
are you working from that?
Yes, so the
Okay.
October, if you go all the way down from that,
Yeah,
there's a list,
yeah.
and then keep scrolling, and then it says select board priorities. It's in a
Okay.
fainter,
Okay.
it came off faint.
Right.
So I don't know which one you want to go first. You want to review the list that they gave us, and then we can see how that matches up with what we said a year ago and what have we done.
Yeah, I guess I'm confused because I printed out the packet and the memo I have, the October 16th memo is 2 pages and it's numbered basically 1 through 15 and then capital projects 1 through 19. So
Yep.
maybe I'm not looking at.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Okay,
right.
So shouldn't we just start with number 1,
Sure.
just water related issues and see where we are on those A, B, C, D, E?
Whatever you want to do.
So that list is a list of things that they're currently undertaking.
Mhm.
And then the list below it is the goals and priorities we adopted.
What, but I'm sorry, where does the list of goals and priorities we adopted?
That's the one that's is titled Select Board Priorities.
Oh,
for
so it's
time
a different,
period.
okay, to me, that's a different document, I get it.
Not seeing that. Maybe I left it in my.
No, just keep scrolling, John.
Well, I have the paper copy.
Does someone want to screen share maybe so we can be on the same page?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll do it for you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Well, for some reason, that wasn't in my packet.
Yes, it is.
I think it's there, John. Maybe you're just not being able to get it, but
I have the memo, with the lists on the front, but nothing that says select board priorities.
well, if you keep scrolling,
does.
if you
Hang
open
on,
the
I'll show you.
memo
No,
and you keep scrolling,
I'm reading paper copies that I was supplied.
Yes,
Okay.
it's in there, John.
anyway, she's gonna share the screen, John, so.
This is your table of contents of what's in your packet.
Mhm.
So this is the memo that John and Tom put together for you. Is
Right.
this what you want to look at right now?
I guess that's what I thought we were gonna start with.
Yeah, this is what's actively ongoing, and then the select board goals and priorities is below.
Okay, but
Yeah,
was,
you
if
wanna
I
look-
understood correctly from John Bugby, they wanted to know if what they were working on were select board priorities, so shouldn't we be going over this?
I think that we can take each one and say that, yeah, we're actively getting the, it does kind of complement what we said in what they provided as the goals stated by the board last year. This is not Josh's and Ryan's. And there's a lot of these things that are in process. Are they completed? No, and we didn't expect them to be completed, but we did. The only thing I don't see here is a wastewater advisory committee set up in guidance yet, but we have a sewer committee.
Hold on, honey.
Yeah, I gotta go get a
Central.
paper.
So again, these are things that are currently undertaken by the administration. Our goals that we set are a little bit different. But these do play into a number of our goals.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I mean, I won't, I promise I won't say this yet a gazillionth time, but I thought what John Bugby was saying is asking us to do is review these to confirm that these are priorities. Or Ryan, is what you're saying, they may be priorities for admin, but they're not select board? That's
They're
not,
things that they're currently undertaking.
okay, okay.
Barbara.
We just wanted to provide a
I'm-
list of ongoing stuff we're doing in addition to your goals. We just wanted to let you know what we were up to more than anything else.
So then I do have one question. What is number 4 ADU issue? What's that about? I mean, that, if it's, is that about seashore ADUs?
It's about ADUs in town. It's a topic that the select board has been working on and we have staff looking at it too, so.
Okay, but not just like, it's not just the narrow issue that we had an
No,
opinion.
not just
The
the seashore.
ADUs, oh,
Right.
okay, got it. Thank you. I assume it's something like, how are we amending our bylaw to conform to the state guidance and regulations for ADUs?
Yeah, it's
Something like that?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Guarino, I'm assuming number 9, the word weir is supposed to be sewer.
Yeah, probably. I've got to find it.
Sewer regulations, PR project. Okay.
Yes, sewer. I would
Uh,
think.
What is a HUDCA group? HUDDKE.
Huddle.
Well, that's supposed to be huddle. Yeah, high level huddle.
Where's that?
High level huddle is on the schools.
Okay.
No, the high level huddle is a joint working group of the finance member, a select board member, a school committee member, in the finance department and myself to go through topics of mutual concern to keep communication going between the two and to help us set budget priorities together as opposed to being on opposite side of the
Okay,
issue.
so that's an admin ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
intermunicipal water agreement, I assume that means our agreement with the town of Eastham.
Is that in place?
Well, there's a IMA for water supply with the town of Eastham. I'm not sure if this is meant to apply to the wastewater IMAs that we'll need.
I would imagine it.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, through you, I suppose on the capital projects, not to jump ahead, but I'm not seeing any ADA compliant programs. Is that
I did see that somewhere there.
am I missing that?
Where did I see that? It might not be under a capital.
Well, that's where it would logically be.
Well, no, not all ADA issues are capital items.
Right.
No, I understand, but some are. I was just bringing that up.
I don't see it on there.
No. Yeah, again, we didn't try to give you the complete list of everything. We tried to give you highlights of some of the things that we're working on. This isn't an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination. This was about a 15-minute conversation between John and I. And then we went back and looked at it again, but we didn't, this is just kind of off the top of our head stuff we're working on.
You know, it's a lot. I don't know how you're keeping it straight, but
Well-
people should understand these things are all happening, even though they think otherwise in town hall. Some people do.
Hmm.
If I could just jump in real quick, I think the idea was that we would demonstrate everything we're working on as a team, meaning me and Tom, but the idea being, here's everything we're working on. Here are last year's goals. Tell us, is there something we're missing that's not on this list? Is there something on the list that you want prioritized? And our last year's goals the same as this year's goals. So it's kind of like, here are last year's goals. Here's everything we're working on. Tell us, where does this all land in terms of select board priorities?
Yeah, so when I was looking at last year's goals, it became apparent that a lot of the goals the select board gave to the town administrator were multi-year goals.
That's true.
And so when I drew up my proposal, I incorporated those as multi-year goals to try to understand where the finish line, what the finish line looks like, and then to get input from the board and town administration on when we think we can feasibly achieve them. And then I made some suggestions for a few more. And then I also just came up with what I think should be select board policy goals and tried to synthesize them into 5 points. But do we want to continue to discuss this memo, or do we want to jump into select board goals?
Well,
Well, I think we should look over the existing the previous select board goals with what we just looked at as a backdrop to see how they intersect, and then move on to our current goals. Is this the select board goals that we're looking at now?
yeah, all the goals are the select board goals that we have to implement for you, and unless there's specific internal board development that the board wants to do, separate from the activities or the duties that are taken on by staff.
Yeah, this is the page I didn't have, but now I have it because it's up on the screen, so that's fine.
Okay.
Could I
Uh,
add, sorry, through the chair?
Yeah,
Would this be the right time to propose some additions to this? Because I think earlier admin was asking, is there anything that should be on, else that should be on here?
This list was our list from last year. So
Okay.
we have to set our goals for this coming year.
Right, no, I get that, but I guess I thought we were using this as a starting point for setting those goals. And part of that would be, if there's something that's not on here, suggesting it be added. That's how I thought this was gonna work.
Mhm. Well, what would you, if I can, Mr. Chair, for instance, Barbara, it sounds like you have something you would
Yeah,
suggest.
so I would like to call out somewhere, the ADA compliance.
That's fine.
That's my only addition.
I mean, what we should do with the previous years is if we look at it, we look to see which ones have completed or not, where things stand. Is it still a priority of the board as it's constituted now? And then we also have the, you know, yeah, the goals for this coming year, from individual board members as well.
Okay, okay.
So, it, through the chair,
Yeah.
so Tom, where are you? I know that we have the facility, a draft of the facilities plan. Where are you in terms of the rolling stock?
That's being done right now, as an add-on to the facilities plan. We're using the same company. He's just about done with that, and the capital, not just the replacement, but the repair and replacement program too. The company, Brightly, the company we're working with, is working almost on a bi-weekly basis with Jay and I to finish it up.
Okay. I think we all know where the wastewater
Yeah,
treatment and management is. The local comprehensive planning process we've talked about in other meetings. Marina. This was this right before the pier caught fire or after?
Yeah, this was before.
Yeah, it was like right before it caught fire. Uh, just for people's references. Yeah. So I know you've done some work on the finances. There remains work to be done, correct?
Correct. What we're doing this year, so you're aware, is Michael is working almost, Ryan, to come back to another issue you had, almost like a zero base. We're kind of building it from the beginning because there's been so much of an issue. The other thing that he's got to look at, and he's got to bring back to the committee and then the committee to the select board, the fee structures on how we're going to make the marina over time. This can't happen in 1 year. Really self-sufficient. So it's not dragging the general fund down, but we've got to see what the fees are going to be in the staffing and see where the delta is and see if we can do this and if we have to do it over a stepped plan over years, so people aren't getting sticker shock the first year. But he's working, and we're working on that. He's working with Mr. Strauss and other couple of people on the committee as well.
Okay. And then the old shellfish shack, I'm assuming remains in the same limbo it's been in for 20 years.
Yeah, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. We bring it up every so often, and everybody's afraid of it. They're afraid to fix it. They're afraid to tear it down.
I have a question about that, but it's probably something that should wait until another meeting or.
What was it?
I have a, sorry.
Well, I had somebody ask me whether the town could lease that to a private business. The owner of the Frying Pan Gallery is going to be losing his lease in a few years, like 2 or 3 years, and he was wondering if he volunteered to fix it up, could he lease it from the town?
I don't know if you'll ever abate the mold in there.
Yeah, could I just jump in there? We've had 2 environmental studies on that, if I believe. I know there's been one, may have been 2. Both of them said that the mold is like baked into the wood. I mean, it is just tear it down.
Yeah.
If there was something that could be done with that, I would be the first to say, let's improve it. It could be whatever, I mean, it could be a shower, it could be a welcome thing, it could be something for storage for the shellfish. It's unhealthy, but no one wants to take it down. And every time you're going to go take it down, either Jude or Hearn, somebody jumps forward, everybody gets their knickers in a twist and nothing happens. But I don't know if it would be, if we'd have a liability if we rented it. That's my,
Yeah, I just asked because I was asked, so I have no stake in it myself. So,
Mr. Chair?
yeah.
I mean, this is kind of a global comment, but I'll use the old Shellfish Shack as an example. If I have an issue that the board gave the town administrator, this is a goal, and yet we're all sitting around here saying nothing's going to happen. And so I think that if we give town administration a goal, it either has to be achievable or it's not achievable. So if we're all saying we don't want to touch it, then we need to remove it from our list of goals.
I agree. I think
And
that's a
if
good
it
point.
was up to the town administrator, he'd tear it down, but he doesn't
Then
want.
I think that's what we should, that was what was voted.
What's preventing us then? I mean, this has been a goal for a year. It doesn't seem like it's
It was voted at town
Josh, it's
meeting.
been an issue for several years. It's not, there's a lot of family ties to this, so that it's more complicated than just tearing it down.
Who family, is there a family that's attached to that? Or is
Uh,
it just memories of everyone?
Well, it was gifted by, I think, Tim Sears' family.
Well, he can fix it.
all right.
Uh,
Let's move on. But my comment is simply
I
didn't even-
agree with
if
you,
we have a
Josh. Take
goal,
it
we
off.
should.
If we're not going to do anything, we should
Yeah,
just
take it off. It's fine.
All right, let's remove it. All right, transfer station. Where are we with the comprehensive financial model?
The bid is out. We've met with a couple of experts on this to help us with the bid. John has put the bid out. And we're waiting for the bids to come back. That's all.
All right.
And that'll come to the board before, we pull the trigger because it's over 50 grand and it's got to come to you anyways.
How about the renewal of the disposal contract with Covanta?
That is still in the works. We're expecting a 20 to 25% increase, although they haven't given us anything in writing yet. But Jay and I are on with it's not Covanta anymore, but Harvey, as well as having discussions with people in the field on whether we're going to get really screwed or if it's going to be just a normal 10-year.
Is Covanta the recycling?
No,
Yeah, they're the incinerator down in
CMAS.
Rochester. Covanta to CMAS, I think to Harvey now. I think Harvey bought it. I'm not sure.
We don't know, Harvey, Tom.
Yeah, recycling's done differently. It's not a single contract.
Right.
I see.
Is it safe to assume the purple bags will be a part of the comprehensive financial model?
Yes.
Okay.
Meaning deciding whether to keep them or not?
I
or-
don't, yeah, my guess is you're not going to keep them, but we'll have to see how it sugars off.
Yeah, hope not.
All right. IT, strength. Who wrote strength and security? I would love to know what that means.
That's cybersecurity.
No,
And-
I understand that. I'm trying to understand maybe one level deeper what we're.
Well, I think that we were worried about it, but there has been a lot of different layers put on since then.
Yeah, in the last year, the county we've been with the county, but they've upgraded their firewalls and things like that where they're fully compliant and we are better with them than on our own.
Okay.
And I could add real quickly, Chairman, or Chair, Select Board Member Yeston, sorry, that I think when this was written as a priority, we had budgeted for an IT in-house
Right.
staff member, but Tom and I met with the county when we were doing that analysis, and in the end, and at that time, Bourne had just the town of Bourne had been compromised, so we were super concerned about security and what it says there in the priorities. So, long story short, we had a few meetings with them. They brought forward some proposals to address where we want to go from an IT security and computer standpoint, and we decided to bypass the IT position and use that to fund the IT work of the county. Sorry, that's a real long-winded version of
No,
what happened, but
I'm tracking. I think Barnstable County IT is a great organization.
yeah, they've been
I-
great.
Yeah, I am. And what are we looking to regionalize?
We're looking to regionalize, to have the discussion on regionalizing a lot of things, but IT is one of those, or where we could perhaps share an IT person with several towns. This is something Eastham has brought up. And I'm in very preliminary, I know it's a year old, but people's schedules are, talking with Rich Bienvenu a little bit about that too. I know it's something that we would like to look at regionalization in a number of different fronts. So IT is one of them, health is one of them. Assessing could be one, although that's a little more problematic.
All of it sounds, if I may, I don't mean to jump in, but I've been down these roads before and there's a lot of possibilities, but once it really comes down to the end, there was talk about maybe why do we need each town have a housing authority when we could have one housing authority for 4 towns? Because we sort of share this kind of stretch of land here. And of course, all the housing authorities came into the commissioners meeting saying, you need 15 housing authorities and you need 15 departments of fire and 15 police stations and if not more, and etc. So it's you can do a lot of work on this, and then when you come down to like wanting to pull the trigger, no one really wants to give up their turf. But there are staff people we could maybe share, assessors, maybe not, but inspectors, building inspectors, things like that, wherever we can share. And I've looked into this. I would love to be able to build a team in the county that people could just rent, if you're short of somebody. But we can't do that yet.
This goes to what I brought up at a previous meeting about quarterly meetings of all 4 Outer Cape Select Boards so that we can actually throw out on the table ideas for what we could regionalize instead of doing it in our little silos and then you're not getting anywhere.
Right.
We have a lot of departments where it's one person or
Mm-hmm.
or 1.5 or 2 people, and the problem is, and it's the same with the neighboring small towns as well. The problem is when somebody leaves a position, it takes a really long time to fill that position, and there's no institutional knowledge at that point if it's a turnover of a department of 1. So if you have rather than having let's say if it's between 3 towns, you instead have a department of 3, which provides a more resilient form of providing those services.
You have redundancy that way.
Yeah.
Josh?
Just when it is, as it relates to IT, I think we have a strong regional solution by contracting with the county. So I think we can
Mhm.
remove this from future goals.
Right.
Public works, sidewalk.
So the sidewalk from Lawrence Road up to the school, the initial engineering estimate that Jay got on that going to the school was almost $700,000. It was $689,000, I believe. I've been talking with Mr. Tupper down at the County, the associate director, because he
Mhm.
was in the transportation end on seeing if there's anything that they can do to help. The issues that you run into there on both sides of the road is, well, on the one side is sloping and it's gonna be hard to cut a sidewalk in there. There will be easements needed, those types of things as well, and the sidewalk that currently is on the bridge and connects to the bridge, doesn't connect to the bridge, but on the bridge, they're less than 5 feet, so they're not, you'd have to make these all ADA compliant, as well as they should be. And, it's just a lot more complicated than running a sidewalk up on the right away, because the lanes on that road, I believe, are only 11-foot lanes anyways.
What about connecting the end of the work at the Route 6 Main Street project to where the sidewalk starts at Long Pond?
That's, uh,
There's a gap in between.
There's
yeah,
a
it's
gap,
that-
yeah.
yeah, it's somebody's house with their beautiful hedges there.
Yeah, so we can look at that, but it is something that we have not dropped and we've stayed on it. It's just, it's expensive.
Yeah, because that's what this goal asks for. Is from the Route 6 intersection to Long Pond.
Right.
Well, it's a goal, but I don't think it's going to be addressed soon.
Well,
You can keep it on there, but it's something.
we
It-
were gonna go, I just want to go back to Ryan for a second, if I could, Mr. Chairman. I didn't mean
Yeah.
to interrupt, Sheila, I'm sorry.
Go right ahead. No, I'm just,
We started with that going straight just up to the Long Pond intersection, and if I recall correctly, at a select board meeting, Mr. DeVasto specifically asked to see if we could get it run all the way
Yep.
up to the school.
Yep, that would be correct. But you know, we might want to look at if the running to the school is going to be, you know, cost prohibitive or take a huge amount of time. Looking at a more limited scope might be.
Yeah,
a
just
better-
get it up to the intersection. Okay, we can roll it back if that's what the board wants us to do.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it says, what would a Mass Complete Streets designation accomplish? Is there a benefit to that? Under Public Works the last.
Yeah, there is a benefit to it if you have, it gets, that creates bike lanes and sidewalks and all kinds of things, and there's a lot of roads in this town that don't lend themselves for
No. it's because-
expansion. It's certainly something that, it's not a bad thing to have, but I'm not sure how applicable it could be on a lot of streets in town.
Well, I guess we're not rural anymore. I don't know if we've ever gotten that confirmation, but according to a map.
We're a
for a suburb-
designated rural community.
Rural.
Well, there's a map, if you read I think Tom sent it out, from the MMA, it was about, like a perfect storm of fiscal crisis. And it had different maps and different conversations, but on there it had a map of the Cape. And, the only rural town that was indicated on that map was Truro.
That's right.
Yeah, rural is a designation.
I understand that.
You can look it up with the state. Wellfleet's a designated rural
Yeah,
community.
well, maybe not for long at the rate, what they're considering. I don't know if they're changing their criteria.
That was just the methodology that MMA was using for that report.
I think we're getting off track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ocean View Drive.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Say that again.
Ocean View Drive.
And in discussions with the director of the National Park Service, we're not right now for obvious
Mhm.
reasons, but it's something that we have broached and we want to put together a long-term working group on that. I mean, it's, maybe 20, 25 years down the road, but if you don't start planning it now, you're gonna end up in trouble.
So
Do we have any indication from the park if they're amenable?
Does, absolutely, the director is very amenable to working with us on that.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. And then last of all is pond monitoring health.
So the town, through the select board's directive, we funded it and we're funding it through June, the last quarter, at the special town meeting. And there will be an appropriation if the select board deems it to go forward. For the annual town meeting in May, my recommendation on that, since we're so cash, not strapped, but there's not a lot of excess cash, is that we put that on as an article as
Mhm.
opposed to a line item.
Through the chair, I mean, I defer to you on that, but what's the logic for that? Is this a general principle or something specific? to this?
It's that we're looking at a deficit right now, and anything that's not, the way
Oh.
I'm looking at it, the budget right now, anything that's not legally mandated or policy mandated or town meeting mandated are nice to haves. And we gotta, I know ponds are important, we gotta keep the health of the ponds up. But should that be a general fund line item for 100 grand, or should it be an article?
So okay, so you're basically taking it out of the budget or saying it's not going in the budget. We're putting it as a separate article and having the town vote on that separately as opposed to part of the budget.
Correct.
I'm not crazy about that. That's honestly
Okay.
the one thing without the ponds, I think it's beyond a nice to have. I think this is a have to have. The health of the ponds is a have to have. So just my 2 cents.
So if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I do think that we should look into, and I will ask the county, see if anybody can look into it as well. You know, the governor released the Environmental Biodiversity Initiative. And in there there's funding in the environmental bond bill, not just for wastewater, there for a lot of to protect and to shore up against coastal climate change. And so there is money around. I wonder if we could get some, since it is for the health of the biodiversity. So there's pots of money up there that we should sort of explore, and maybe between now and next town meeting. And if we're able to figure out where it is and secure some, you wouldn't have to do that. But if there isn't, the ponds are very important. And really, we're like the last to have healthy ponds. You know, Eastham had theirs closed. They're one of their largest, most popular one at the end of last summer. So it's just a matter of time if we don't be
Yeah.
serious about
Then
it.
we'll put it in the budget. It wasn't meant to be a slap, Barbara. It was just, I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna get money for the budget from.
No, I get it. Through the chair, I get it. It's not a slap. I apologize if it came off as hostile or aggressive. I saw myself more as piping up as one board member that sees this as appropriate for the budget.
Yeah, and APCC's done a great job for us on that too, just so you know.
They're very good.
So
Ron?
through you, Mr. Chair, when you're talking about having it as a potential separate article, was your thought to potentially have it as a Proposition 2.5 override, or to fund it from other available funds?
Other
rather than-
available funds, free cash or stabilization, maybe the CPC.
Okay, I think that warrants a discussion once we start looking at the budget. But you know, if it's being funded by free cash or you know, other available funds, you know, I don't necessarily see a problem with it.
I would
So-
agree with that.
I thought the whole idea is to
Done.
avoid override.
Well, that's what we're trying.
Is there anything else on pond monitoring, or should we move on to the select board future goals?
Oh, what's next? Scroll down a little bit. Thank you. So these were the goals. All
Yeah.
right. And this is now, this is Josh's.
Yep.
These are
Okay.
Josh's. I have Josh's and Ryan's.
All right. I'll
That's
start
what
here.
we're gonna do.
Yeah, so I mean, this was really more as an exercise to organize my thoughts. It wasn't necessarily meant to be comprehensive. I figured the rest of the board would have their own input, but I tried to organize it into five core goals, and each one of them has a number of tasks underneath that to try to achieve that goal. So my thinking is we need to find a way to strengthen non-tax revenue. We whether that's through reviewing marina and parking revenues, whether that's optimizing property leases that we have with third parties using town property, introducing, rental safety and STR registration fees, forming a grant writing committee. I think that's really important. And then pursuing payment in lieu of tax funding from the federal government. There are subsections, so I won't speak to any single point too much now. We can kind of debate them one by one when we go through. So, second, transparency and accessibility. I think that there are actions that we can take as a board, and some that town administration will have to take in order to just improve transparency and accessibility of town government and how it works. Government operations, right? I think we need to, as a board and as a team with town administration, kind of button up a bit on just how we operate. And so I have a few ideas around that. Certainly environmental resiliency, wastewater is a big part of that, but also folding in pond health efforts, coastal vulnerability assessments, et cetera. Then the fifth bucket of goals, or the fifth goal and actions under it would be year-round community preservation. So everything from supporting affordable housing and local businesses through expanded Wellfleet Affordable Housing Trust funding, a new year-round housing mechanism, whether that's through a year-round housing trust as the seasonal communities designation gives us, or some other vehicle, certainly supporting Maurice campground redevelopment. Then maybe having a more of a collaborative role with the chamber, understanding how the town can find ways to support businesses that are staying open year-round. So those are the five general goals. And then if we kind of scroll down, I started to break it up into actions that we could take in order to achieve them.
Well,
Oh, excuse me, Mr.
no, these are great, but this isn't, that's fine. I just think it's up to the board to determine what the steps are.
I agree with you.
Mhm.
This is just a proposal.
Yeah, all any of us are submitting our proposals.
Right.
If I may,
Yeah.
underlying it, there's so much to do. And, we have a very limited staff. And we have to keep that in mind. We want to get all these things done, but and in defense of Rebecca, we've all gone in that office. There's people walk in there constantly. There's telephone calls constantly while she's trying to type memos, get out agendas, get them correct. All kinds of things. That's why I sort of, if there's an error that's been made, I don't get to, because I appreciate the stress and amount that's happening. Now her assistant is out for another 2 weeks at least with a hip, so that's even more compounded. So goal chasing, to go after grants. And I feel this even on my other level on the county, there's always room for a grant writer, because a grant writer, you're spending money on that person, but you're reaping benefits, you're bringing in more. And that's the goal of getting more. Someone can concentrate on seeking and applying for those grants out there. So there's a lot of different, we have to really be real about what we can do. And if we want to ask the town, we need, a grant writer, or we need this, there's always, believe me, for years, we should have had this when we could really afford it and built it in. But it was always, a town meeting, well, let's just do half of that person, or that's a great idea, but not now. And, and that's sort of like where we are. but a lot of this needs more people. And that's why we're slow in getting some of this stuff done. And I just want to put that out there. If we were going to invest in something, it would be bodies,
Yeah.
capable bodies.
I think the suggestion of a grant writing committee, if we can get people with grant writing skills to volunteer for a committee like that, that
That
would
would be great.
obviate the need to spend money on hiring
agree.
somebody, which we really need to try to look at avoiding if we can.
And we could put that plea out there, maybe people would respond. Anyway.
There are people out there, I'm convinced,
Mm-hmm.
retirees who are skilled in that area who would love to help the town out.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, all right. That's all I had. But
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I speak to it in a little bit more detail. So the idea was just to structure every goal and then actions to take to achieve it. And then I think it's important to define the action, define the measurement of success, and give it a timeline. These timelines
Mr.
are,
Yeston,
yeah.
could I suggest that you add another column to that?
Sure.
That would be who are the responsible parties?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Um, I agree. We should do that. If
Right.
responsible parties for, in what sense?
In every goal, who's
Oh.
who's responsible for achieving
Each
an
goal.
action?
So
As far as that grant writing committee goes, I had an interesting conversation at dinner a couple of nights ago with a couple of strangers who have a summer home here, who are retired, and asked me, how can we help the town? And they kept hammering away at that. And I told them, go online. We have a whole list of volunteer committee positions that are going begging. Have a come in and have a conversation with town staff, with with administration. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're not alone.
If I can, in that, I would follow up that question, John, like what's your area of interest? What is your expertise? What would you like to do? What do you see? And then
Exactly.
do they have something,
We exchanged information, so I anticipate being in touch with them. Josh just asked if he could share his screen.
Sure.
I'd be fine with that.
Josh.
Yep.
I'll wait till we get down there. All right, I'll wait till we get there.
yeah, I think this would be more efficient if we just took them in order. And I think we'll have.
And if I could also say one
Go
other
ahead,
thing,
Josh.
I think January 26th is
No, it's not going to happen.
No,
ambitious.
it's not. Like, I just started putting something there, and then we can
Okay.
discuss what's reasonable. Okay, so, well, I guess let's start at the very beginning. Do we believe?
I don't see anything here.
It's coming on,
Oh, okay.
just starting. It's got to load.
Do we see it now? Or is it
No.
still-
Not yet. It's
There-
okay.
There
Now
it
we,
is.
Right.
okay. So now you have the responsible party. Okay.
So I suppose the first question is, do we feel like strengthening non-tax revenue is a goal that we should have as a board?
Yes, that's what I put down that as one of mine.
Yep.
Great. So, a non-exhaustive list of things that I think we can do. We certainly can complete a Marina Enterprise Fund review. We can evaluate slip fees and operational sustainability is a goal. That should be net positive revenue. This probably is going to be 27, not 26.
Net
Maybe.
positive revenue, Josh, I'd suggest 28,
Really?
just because of the gap.
Right.
But we can look at it at 27 and see, but I'm thinking of just the users, that's all.
I mean, respectfully, I feel like if we have an enterprise fund, it's their responsibility to be able to sustain themselves.
Well, you're correct, Josh. That's exactly the way it should work. But in water and in marina, the town's been underwriting for years and years and years. And I'd like to get that $100 and some odd $1,000 away from the general fund and on to the Marina as an example. But they're gonna have to increase their fees, and they're undertaking that study right now. Mr. Strauss and Mike Kavanaugh are working on that with the committee.
So then why do we feel like it's not feasible for them to do that study and implement it in time for net positive revenue for 27?
It may not be it might be positive by then. Cause it's such
Well,
a
no, you
debt,
may be tripling the rates,
right?
and that's a little hyperbolic. I know that.
No,
I know, and you can
I
see
understand what
how
you're
just
saying, but I mean,
raising, it
that's
didn't go well
business.
this year.
Just speaking from experience, I think what my guess is, and of course it's only a guess at this point, is that we're going to be looking at the model that was used before, which is a three-year implementation of a certain percentage of rate increase. So in other words, instead of doing it all at once, it's divided into a three-year process. So the sticker shock isn't as great. But I don't see why it would be that far out to notice
Well,
some
it's 2
benefit.
fiscal years.
Oh, okay, okay. That goes to my lack of.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it was a
Oh,
three-year thing, and it is ongoing. It's in process.
it's a bit, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm
And
the
Hey, we
minority
can
here.
try. We
It's
can
just
try
business.
it,
just
Josh.
for a bit of history on where how we got where we are is decades of neglect, which we're now trying to catch up with, and that's one of the reasons it's made it hard to not have the town infuse money into this in order to bring things up to a minimum level of safety.
Sure. All right.
If, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah,
So one of the things that might play into it is if I know there's some limitations as to what we can and cannot do, but if we were to, start charging for parking in the summer on the pier for non-slip holders, for example, that would help the enterprise fund close some of these budget gaps. It's probably implementing parking is at least probably 2 years. Um, I'm not 100% sure, but I would expect it is at least 2 years. So you would need the annual town meeting and appropriate funds to kind of create, I don't know. And then the fall, the contract would come in place, and then the deliverables would be delivered whenever the contract calls for, based on availability. And then and then you could start collecting revenues. So it's at least 2 years, or 2 fiscal years.
Yep.
To implement parking. And if you're able to collect parking on the pier, it really would help close some of these gaps.
I agree. And we'll have a little more clarity on that, I think, too, once we have these consultants that are scheduled to
Yeah.
come before us next month, early next month.
Yeah, he didn't mean to get COVID on purpose. So.
No, that happens.
You know, another idea that I had is, the town has a good amount of private leases, right? We have shellfish grants that's limited by Massachusetts general law. We have leasing of property, whether that is the picnic area in front of Max on the pier, whether that's the parking lot of the Beachcomber. I think we need to do a review and write a report on all short and long-term uses of town property revenues to understand what is the value of the use of town property? How many times are people asking for weddings at Mayo Beach? Are we charging an appropriate fee for that? Are there any uses of town property that are not paying the town for that use? And we should rectify that. I think that should be achievable by the end of this year, by January. If we don't, what's a reasonable time frame? But I think it's important for us to understand how much revenue the town is currently taking in from use of town property, and are there opportunities for reasonable adjustments based on demand? And also, if there's areas of non-compliance, we need to bring those into compliance.
The non-compliance is going to take significant amount of time. There's a number of parcels that are town owned where private individuals have basically stored their private property on. Some of them I've brought up in the past, and I don't know, it would take a while to resolve those.
Well, there'd be a bidding process for leasing out town property. John Bugby, or Tom, that assessment's currently underway, right?
Yes, I can take that,
Yeah.
Tom. So yes, that's part of the to-do list. I will tell you that's going to take some time. You're really going to have to do a meticulous effort figuring out what town property is owned and where, and what town property is being occupied by an entity that does not have a lease or did not acquire it through a public bid process. And I just real quick want to go back to what you said earlier, John, about the Shellfish building. Not to go back over, but you can put an RFP out that would require the tenant to fix any problems within the building. So that is an option. I realize that's a whole different can of worms, but that is an option. But yes, we would take a look at this whole big picture. Tom, does that sound about right?
Yeah, I just don't know how you're gonna encapsulate the mold in the
We-
studs.
Can we not talk about the shellfish?
Yeah, we're not
building?
gonna,
Please?
we're not gonna
We're going-
talk, yeah.
I don't want to get off into
It
that.
When-
was not a bad example, but we
when-
don't have to get into why
Sorry.
anybody would do it, but, so
When can we
I have a question on this, if I may. So it's not town property, but, and I'm sorry, I have to say it's Alfred's property, his own private property. And even though it's private property, he is running this business on it. And if you go by it on your way up to Tequesset Neck, he's got about 20 boats stored there in addition to his boatyard. And it's probably more. And he's right on a wetland, as he is in
Point
his
of order.
business.
We're getting off track. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, how do we address an issue like that?
Well, that's a
That's-
zoning issue, not a use of town property issue.
That's a concern of code enforcement, not so much
Yeah.
goal setting.
Okay, I'm just saying, a lot of people have brought that up to me, and it is pretty amazing that it goes on and nobody talks about it, so. All right, go ahead. I'm
Rebecca,
just
you
throwing it
had
out there. I take it back, move on, please.
Rebecca, you had your hand up?
I just wanted to let you know that I've already started a spreadsheet with the use of town property long-term. There aren't as many as you think. When you talk about short-term, are you talking about like how many people rent out the pavilion per year? Are you talking about how many people use Indian Neck per year? And my only question to you is when you're talking about weddings that are at any sort of beach that go across the town of Wellfleet, there are quite a few people that there are 10 people on the beach and they don't come for use of town property. How do you enforce that? Because they're literally there and gone within 20 minutes. I don't know how you would enforce that. I mean, I always tell them better safe than sorry. Apply for the permit. It's very rare that the select board says no unless there are department heads that have reasons. I'm just wondering how you would go ahead and enforce that.
No, I think enforcement's always a challenge. The specific idea of this task is to answer your first two questions. Can we create a summary of all applications for use of town property, understand what was the general revenue from that, understand how many of each were asked, and so we can make a determination, is the fee reasonable?
I can add to
that's
my
the idea.
spreadsheet if you'd like to go with surrounding towns, like how much does Chatham charge for a beach wedding? How much does, that way we can compare price or compare fees if you'd like that.
Sure.
That'd
It
be
sounded
good.
like Mr. Bugby it sounds like you and Mr. Bugby are working on this together. I guess we don't have to go into the details right now. I'm just curious when do we feel like is a reasonable time frame to achieve this?
I can take that real quick. So, and the only reason I'm taking this is in large part because it involves a procurement piece and making sure that whoever occupies town property has gone through the proper channels in terms of procurement processes. And there are a lot that have, but there are some that haven't, and that is revenue that's lost. And that needs to be addressed because those are valuable parcels. Um, Anything on the waterfront, there's a lot of commercial businesses, upstart businesses that would love to have that property because of where it is and the audience that it has. So it's a process. I think 6 to 8 months is reasonable to have a real good comprehensive study. And keep in mind, these analysis get done, when time avails, when there isn't a fire to put out. So it's just hard to find time to do these, but this is an issue that's worth exploring because there's a revenue component, there's a legal component. So yes, I think 6 to 8 months is reasonable, pending the fires that get put out. But with Tom, I'll have to talk to Tom, and I'm curious to hear his thoughts if that sounds reasonable.
I think June is reasonable on that. I think, it's fairly readily available information, at least on the ones we know. The ones we don't know is gonna take some hunting.
I think it might be quicker in one respect if it's divided into long-term uses of town property and short-term. The long-term uses of town property, it strikes me, are not that numerous and probably a lot easier to corral as far as, who's paying for it and who isn't, with a view towards, getting that rectified. The short-term uses, it's a lot more of them, and that's a process of determining, are we getting our money's worth on those?
Sure.
Anyway, go ahead and move on.
I think the board already discussed this. I guess, in terms of just timing. What do
Yeah,
we think?
we're on the next two. Yeah.
Do we have an idea of timing?
I haven't talked to Ian in any great detail other than she's working on it and putting it together and talking with, I believe, Truro as well. I think Truro. But yeah, we can get, you're not gonna get it done by January, Josh. Well, the policy you may be able to get done, but the registration, you're not gonna be able to get done with all of the renters between now and the first of the year.
No, that wasn't the expectation. Just
Okay.
instituting the policy and establishing the registration.
Yeah, we can do that. Let me talk to Ian. That can be done before the end of the year, certainly.
Does it have to go to town meeting or not?
I don't know. I don't think
No,
so.
it's I'm sorry, through the chair. In Truro, there was a rental registration that pre-existed kind of short-term rentals or the explosion of short-term rentals. And short-term rentals were incorporated into that program. And every action that I've seen since I've been there, so that's 4.5 years, has just been a select board action, such as setting the fee, the rental registration fee, and deciding, who is subject to it, adopting regulations, stuff like that. It's all been select board
Yeah,
decisions.
but was the registration program that was pre-existing, did that require town meeting action to authorize?
I don't know, but I don't see a reason why it would have.
I don't see why it would, but
Right,
it's
it's
an
an administrative
let's
action.
check to be sure.
So, Mr. Yeston, can I jump in real quick? Because I think this next point is right up your alley.
Go ahead.
Ironically, this past week or last week, I received an email. I get a lot of sales emails. I
Yeah, I
rarely
got a
respond
couple
to
of
them.
those too.
I rarely respond to them because it just takes too much time. But there was an email that came through from a company called Numo. It's spelled Neumo.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
And what they do is they will, and I don't know the fee structure, I'll have to look at, but they've worked in other Cape towns, but they will go out, and there's a lot of missed revenue in terms of not only registering, but who is and isn't paying the correct taxes. They will go out and survey the landscape to make sure that you are getting what is owed. But it's going to take a lot more effort. I also bring it up because bandwidth is always an issue in small towns, and Wellfleet is no exception. We rely on vendors to help us with this kind of thing, whether it's studies or like the parking analysis, another good example. But I would be interested in what they have to say and what your research says they can and can't do, if you have time. But just throwing it out there for discussion and consideration. That's all.
Yeah, that's on my list, as third-party data providers. For some of these, it applies both to capturing new growth and then also short-term rentals as well.
Yeah. So through the chair, we pay an outside firm to monitor short-term rental listings. And they do some work, send out some non-compliance letters and so on. They scrape all the sites to make sure that people who are renting are on the rental registration system. So that's an example of a vendor and a contract.
Yeah.
Great. Along with that, the rental safety inspection, we probably need to establish a policy.
If it's all rentals, I don't know. I think we need to have that conversation. If it's just short-term rentals, fine. But if it's all rentals, I mean,
These older ones they had.
it's gonna create a problem.
My understanding and Barbara, I think you had the details on it, is that it's now a state requirement that municipalities inspect rentals.
It's now in the sense that it's a building code, state building code requirement. The category of short-term rentals has moved into a category of premises that have to be inspected yearly. I don't know about longer-term rentals, what category those fall into, but I know that regardless of what structure we adopt or don't adopt for rental registration fees, we are required to do those inspections every year.
Yeah, for short-term rentals.
Short-term, that's what I meant. Yeah.
But the other ones, I just from experience is a problem.
Yeah, I think our housing coordinator did a top-level analysis when we spoke to the Wellfleet Affordable Housing Trust, and they showed how a lot of communities have different price scales for year-round versus short-term rental, and they essentially will create a fee as significantly lower. But for future discussion, I think we should. I think
that's not the only problem.
That's fair.
That's one thing, but that's not really the central issue.
Okay. Do we feel though, as a board, we should still be working towards creating a short-term rental registration fee policy?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. This bottom one right here, lobby the federal government for payment in lieu of taxes. This is a long shot. I'm happy to take this on, and no one
Yeah,
else.
can I jump in on that for a second, Josh?
Sure.
You go ahead.
So, in a conversation with the director on something else, I was just up there working on the easements. And we were talking about the pittance that we get from the federal government, and she made a good point. She says, you may not want to bring this to the surface because they may not even know that they're giving you this. And if we bring it to the surface, they may pull it from all of the towns that they have parks. And it was just a concern. We can talk to Keating about it and see what they can do, but I'm not sure this is the best time to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, the federal government gives the town of Wellfleet $27,000 in change.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think we get more money from the state for the tiny bit of land the state owns than we do from the town. I had a conversation with Senator Sear about this. His recommendation was that we could draft a letter that all towns within the seashore sign on to. And then Mr. Sear's office, Julian said that he would be happy to facilitate the delivery of the letter along with some narrative around it to our congressional delegation.
Ooh. Okay.
Whether the board wants to push this or not is up for our discussion. I think that it's honestly, you know, they control over 2/3 of the land of our town, yet they give us $27,000 in return. And I understand the argument that there's an economic benefit to people coming here because of it, and people want to live here because of it. But I think at the same time, I think they should be paying their fair share. But I'm curious what the other
Yeah.
rest of the board thinks.
Okay.
I think
I just want to say that I think Tom raised a legitimate concern about under the current circumstances, making ourselves too visible.
right.
Barbara?
I think Ryan had his hand up first, then me.
Oh,
Yeah,
Dude.
this is just the wrong time to ask for it. With the previous administration, I know that they were starting to look at payment in lieu of, because it's not just an issue, you know, that affects us. It really affects particularly the western states that have, you know, such a large amount of their land owned by the federal government. But I just think with this current administration, it's not a good time to really even broach the subject.
Right.
Right.
I mean, look what they just did to the bridges.
yeah, that's a good example. Um,
You know, I think we spoke about this, but I think it's easy for us to establish a new grant writing committee. You know, the select board can do this. We can try to solicit applicants that are qualified, that have experience in grant writing. I think they could be a useful tool to town administration. I think they could be a useful tool to other committees that are looking for funding. I think it's worth, in my opinion, finding qualified, hardworking individuals that can contribute to the town in a meaningful way. We need to bring in more revenue. Grants are an excellent source of revenue. And so if we can have a dedicated team to help us, I think that would be very helpful.
I mean, I like the idea of trying to establish a grant writing committee. Whether or not if we'll be able to or not, it remains to be seen. There would have to be some assistance, at least in helping to structure their process. And then also, you know, I would say finding the grants is, you know, what to apply for is half the work in and of itself, let alone, you know, writing a grant.
I totally agree with that. I think one way we could approach it is the select board sends, you know, a general policy statement to a grant writing committee saying that these are the big projects we have on the horizon. You know, can you come back to us the next 30 days with opportunities that we may have overlooked? I think there's obviously a lot of public sector grants, but there's actually quite a number of private sector grants that support small towns and municipalities that I don't think is on anyone's radar, that a dedicated committee can uncover and present to the board for opportunity.
On the privates, there are foundations too that are really, really helpful. What I have found in prior work, not in municipal work, but in my nonprofit work, is that you have to establish a relationship with the foundations over a couple of years before they'll even talk to you. But it can be done. We did it with Kellogg and we did it with Ford, but it takes some time. And it's a good thing to do. My question, and I don't mean, it's not meant to be glib at all, it's dead serious. If we're setting up new committees, who's staffing the committees?
Well, I think there's a lot of committees in town that have no staff. I
Okay,
mean, exact as an example, I mean, we ran that whole beach fiber project with,
yeah,
very, very little. I think there's a lot of other committees that are likely in the same boat. So I don't think there would be any support staff for that committee. It's not a regulatory board. It's
okay. I'm just thinking of copies and postings and
Right.
minutes and distribution.
sure. Yeah. I mean, most committees will just send an email to the town clerk with their agenda, and that's how
All
it gets.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sent to the town clerk and Rebecca, and they have a system to track on who's posted it. So that they've
Yeah.
worked out. Thanks, Rebecca, by the way. So
Well, you're
Yeah, I just
welcome.
need,
That's
I
good
just
to
need
hear.
people to understand, and Josh, I know you do, but like the select board we just set up a sewer commission, right? And we're gonna meet every other week. That's fine with me. That's what that's what we're supposed to do. But that's just added 7 to 8 hours every 2 weeks to the person that puts it together, takes the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when we add something, if we're at bandwidth, we gotta look at what can come off the plate, that's all.
I, I respect that. I mean, the intention is not to add bandwidth, but is to alleviate some.
Right, you can see if these things get working well, it will be great.
So I don't know. I think it's worth it. I think
Yeah, I
it'll.
do too. I'm
I
just,
think it's a fairly low risk, high reward scenario. The worst that could happen is that they find grants, they write grants, they get nothing. It'll be disappointing, but I don't think it'll do much harm. But
that's fine. I think we should try to find a town that has a grant committee and maybe have somebody come in and talk to us about how they work.
sure.
All right,
Last action that I thought of was just, I know we're working on this, but to review and implement this town parking permit review model that's been in the works. Do we have a timeline on that?
well, they're coming to a meeting soon to you to give you their recommendations.
Yeah.
Um,
First meeting in November, I think.
yeah, and you move from there.
So we think reasonably we could possibly get a policy in place by May. Do you think that's reasonable?
From a
No.
policy standpoint, if somebody was to draft it, probably, but in terms of actual implementation, you're talking about a much longer time frame.
And probably a very acrimonious public hearing.
100%. The measurement of success for this year would just be the policy. I don't see any world in which we would implement a townwide parking fee structure for FY
Now, let's
26.
see what happens in November and that gives you a good, springboard to run from.
Okay.
Yeah, just for clarification, Josh, I'm not sure if you were on the board when this, when they proposed, when we brought these consultants on board, but they're, as I recall, dividing the town into 5 areas, one of which is the marina,
No, I remember.
and assessing each one as to, feasibility, desirability, level of potential opposition, so forth.
Yep. No, for sure.
No, I mean, there was, if I may, I mean, even if Mike Tavasta was here, he'd say like, drop it. You're not gonna, he was totally against even thinking about it because it wasn't gonna happen. But I do think we have to think about it. I know that it was really hard for Falmouth downtown, and in the beginning, when there was just meters, I said, that's not gonna look good because we don't have enough room for meters. But now that there's this centralized parking, online, you could do it, but people would go crazy. But there's a lot of people who park at the marina in various other places. I'm sure they park down by Dunkin' Donuts and stuff and call an Uber and go to the beach. So they walk on the beach, they get dropped off. They don't pay for the beach, they don't pay for parking, and they take a spot that's somebody's for the day. So there is a need to look at this.
I agree. All right. So, this is a net new idea. I've always been really puzzled why other, especially regulatory bodies, thinking planning, zoning, Board of Health, they don't post packets. So they get an agenda, they get a packet, they have site plans, they have documentation, but it's not available to the general public. Kind of like, how the select board has a packet. I would be very much in favor to expand the public trust and engagement through transparent, accessible governance for at least all regulatory bodies to post a packet with their agenda 48 hours before the meeting so that everyone can be informed.
I agree with that, and I know for a select board that is a open meeting law if you don't provide that information prior and have it available, even printed out at the back of a room. If somebody walks in, they can follow the meeting. I don't know if it applies.
Yeah, but at least the regulatory boards, I mean, they have staff. For the other boards and committees, at least for right now, I would just roll it out gradually. Have it apply to the regulatory boards and committees first. But the other ones, particularly the ones without staff, are yeah. They might not necessarily have a single organized packet. But I don't know. I've brought this up in the past as well.
Yeah.
And the response from I was asking, and I've asked previously for some of the materials from the planning board, and their response was file a public records request. And I was like, I don't really want to do that, and
It shouldn't
that's,
be necessary.
yeah, and that's not necessarily something that you should be portraying, particularly if it's a subject of a public hearing. But yeah.
Yeah, I think there should be across the board bylaw or policy that regulatory board or all boards, advisory, regulatory, whatever, should post their agendas.
Well, the agendas have to be posted.
Meeting
Yeah.
materials, John.
What's that?
The meeting materials, not just the agenda, but
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. The packets. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no reason that they shouldn't be.
John, I think Barbara has her hand.
Yeah, thanks.
Barbara, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, go
so,
ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna make the point that it's only the agenda that needs to be posted for OML compliance,
Mhm.
but I agree it's a good practice that we post everything, the whole meeting packet prior to. I think I agree that regulatory boards should be the ones most encouraged to do this, but my question was, I mean, that will impose a well, I don't want to put it as a burden. The responsibility for this will fall to staff. So I think expecting that the full meeting packet for every board and committee to be posted going forward, I think it's going to take some time for implementation because I have similar experience in Truro. And I know that some boards and committees do make sure that they pass materials along to either admin or the town clerk to post. Others are more casual about it. It's like a cultural change, really. So I just
Well-
acknowledge that it does it's not just the boards and committees that will have to do the work to make sure they have the meeting packet together, but it will also be staff that will have to be doing the posting.
So I think we should do the regulatory boards for this year and then the non-regulatory for next year. Corralling all the boards and committees at once would be difficult.
It's a good point.
But if you can establish, practices for a certain number of them, and then you can do the same for the next, that would be a good way of doing it and enable it to be manageable for staff as well.
I agree.
Barbara, you still have your hand up?
Oh, no, just neglect. Thank you.
All right. I don't know if this one's going to be popular or not, but I'm going to throw it out there that I think it could be helpful if we just had a rotating office hour. One member of the board once a week, once every other week. We can use the conference room or the basement town hall. And we can have people come in and ask us questions that they might not be comfortable asking, in front of the whole board, being recorded on a microphone. If they have a question, can we make ourselves available, for an hour?
I think it's a good goal.
Yeah, I've thought about it in the past. There used to be more regular office hours or occasional office hours for the select board. COVID kind of kneecapped all of that. But I don't know. I mean, it would vary by the board as well. I came on during COVID, so
I think
I
it
don't
would
know.
be, I think it would be, people have mentioned it to me. They said one thing that's missing is you used to have, a selectman would have hours posted. I know that, my co-commissioner, Mark Forrest, he is also a select board and he does his own. I mean, he just tells people, if you want to see me, I'm going to be here on this day every week or every 2 weeks. He tries to do it every week, just so he'll have coffee at a certain place and somebody has something, they can come in and ask him a question.
I mean, as small of a town as we are, we still don't know everyone. And I find it so valuable when I
Exactly.
run into somebody grabbing a coffee. They mention something that's significant to them, and it really, knocks over a domino in my head. I think that if we can make ourselves more available, I think we might be able to serve our community a bit more. So
So
I don't know how everyone else feels, but I think this would be good.
I just speaking from my own experience, uh, I make a point of, making myself available on the phone, on my, when somebody sends an email, I'll respond to it. And if they want to meet, I'll set up a meeting. I'd have no objection ordinarily to this. I mean, I think it's a good idea. Um, it may be in a practical sense, because I have other stuff going on. There might be some practical issues to deal with, if it's my turn to have office hours and I've got a charter or something like that. Um,
Yeah,
whatever, but I'm always willing to meet with people. So yeah, however this fleshes out, I'm good with it.
I mean, I think one way we could approach this, and we don't have to get into the details of tonight's meeting, but there's 5 members of the board, there's 4 weeks in a month, and so we just rotate. Everyone takes 1 week out of the month, and one member gets that month off, and we just continue to cycle throughout the year.
Maybe post it on the town website when that member's going to be in the office.
Exactly, and then they can set their own time. Say
Yeah.
put it up a month in advance. Hey, I'll be available from 4 to 5. I'll be available from 8 to 9. It doesn't have to be super structured. I think it's just if we can get in a good cadence, I think it'll be appreciated. John Barber has her hand up again.
Oh, Barbara, I'm sorry.
thanks. I have a job that pretty much requires me to be in one place during the day when I assume these office hours would be held. I give out my cell phone numbers. I have people calling me all the time. I will agree to meet with them on a weekend so it doesn't interfere with my day job. So I'm not saying I will never be able to make office hours this way, but my commitment to be, in Wellfleet Town Hall every week for, during the time town hall is open, that's not ideal for me, but I feel I do serve people by being responsive on the phone and meeting with them on the weekends.
Totally. What Would a virtual office hour work, or would that be disrupted as well?
I,
Um,
yeah, we can talk about this
Okay,
further.
okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Well,
I
All
that-
mean, we might want different times as well if we do a virtual, because obviously people working might not necessarily be available during a regular, what would be considered a regular office hour. Um, and so we might want to stagger, you know, a later office hour for some people.
And just moving on, I mean, I agree with that, Ryan, totally. I think it requires further discussion, but it sounds like the board is generally amenable to maybe looking into this
Yeah.
for the future.
Oh, yeah.
Next one, explore feasibility and accuracy of an AI-powered meeting transcript and summaries for all major boards, and then that would then just be distributed via an email newsletter. There's a gentleman in Eastham right now that's prototyping a really interesting piece of tech for Eastham select boards, and I know he's working in the background on a Wellfleet version. It's not there yet. There's certainly some inaccuracies that I think would create more problems than they would solve. But I think if we can begin to think about how we can deploy technology to summarize the very, very, very long, many, many meetings that happen every week in town into some digestible format to keep people more informed of what's going on, I think that would be helpful.
So at least for Maurice's, we've been using AI assistants for a while and developing minutes.
Mm.
So we also did for a period of time we were also doing transcripts. They were not necessarily accurate. And so you'd have to go through the transcript and review and make sure it was accurate. But we do use assistants to develop minutes, but they still require a review after. I mean, some of the ones out there are getting a little bit better. Um, a lot of it has to do with the exact format of the systems and what formats they can support. But it is something that can reduce the amount of time it takes to produce something like that. But the one challenge would be is it's easier if it's Zoom, where the agent joins Zoom directly, because then it picks up who's speaking and who's not based off of their Zoom profile. But if it's a live meeting, it will struggle in trying to figure out who's speaking.
Barbara?
Yeah, thanks. I've seen a lot of inaccuracies with AI meeting transcripts, but I also think the practice of having minutes be a transcript of the meeting is really not what minutes need to be. Minutes are supposed to be summaries, and if someone has questions or wants to have more information on who said what, they can go to the tape. So again, I agree, let's explore feasibility. I'm on board with that as a goal, but I am nowhere near there, in terms of, my experience and what I think, minutes need to be. But
Yeah.
sure, I mean, it's worth exploring.
My suggestion is not for minutes. It's for essentially a public facing newsletter that just summarizes, what was discussed, what decisions were made in the various boards and committees. To do so quicker, I agree. I have not found a single platform that I think is 100% accurate. I think if we did want to look into the feasibility of this would be in beta for a really long time.
Okay. I mean, I won't get in the way of it, but the fact that meetings are posted and that there are meeting minutes, I don't see a need to provide meeting transcripts of all meetings, for the public. But I mean, I'm not going to get in the way of it.
My personal feeling is that we need to transition all recordings of all of our meetings back to YouTube for public access. I'm really not sure why we're hosting it on honestly, like a fairly archaic media player platform.
Yeah, and we're paying for the hosting as well.
Which makes no sense at all.
Now we can get rid of Zoom, but
Not Zoom.
We're
It's
not getting rid of Zoom. No.
No, it's
It-
the,
So
the Reflect.
yeah, so instead of using the Wellfleet Reflect platform to host
oh,
our
okay,
meeting,
I'm sorry, I
we're gonna-
misunderstood.
we're going to transition the recordings to YouTube. That also has the benefit of having live transcript, closed captions, so it
Yeah.
makes it more accessible to those that are hearing impaired. I mean, you have the power of YouTube, you can play it at double speed, you can play it at half speed if you want, you can share at specific times to individuals, you're able to, have far more powerful search. Um, you know, I think this could be done pretty quickly, and I think we should do it. Does anyone else feel strongly against it?
No, I think it's a great idea.
I've been saying it. I said it even when the proposal was to transition off of YouTube. It makes 0 sense, and the current platform can't provide closed captioning
Right.
unless we pay additional. I don't even know how much. It's tens of thousands of dollars for the closed captioning feature. And yeah.
So that's
On YouTube?
YouTube closed captioning is free. Reflect,
no.
you have to pay for the module.
Sheila? Sheila, you have your hand up?
thank you. This isn't about our meeting. I'm just, well, about what the discussion is. I was wondering, do we have a time stop on this meeting? I thought it was gonna be 2 hours. We're close to 2. The only
Generally,
reason I
we-
ask is I have company
Yeah,
that
the
showed
goal is
today.
generally go 90 minutes and we do another segment, but we're
We're
a
into,
little late. We're just about at the 90-minute mark.
I mean, we
we're
haven't
after
looked at
90
mine yet.
I know
we're
that,
going
but-
into 2-hour mark.
Yeah, we haven't looked at mine yet either.
know we
We
haven't,
just
so
looked
just-
at Josh's,
I just want to say that
but we might need an additional meeting.
I think so.
I agree.
But if we can get through Josh's and then maybe if you allow me and Josh to talk about kind of incorporating, potentially looking at incorporation of some goals into the matrix, that might be a way of.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can wait on mine until another meeting.
Yeah, it's just, this is long, so. Thank you.
Sure. So Josh, go ahead. Or are you finished?
Yeah, just rounding out this, this goal of government access and transparency. The town website needs a desperate overhaul. I think we're all in agreement with that.
You and I have talked.
We're in the process of updating the website now.
Yeah, Rebecca has
Rebecca?
stated that a
Yes.
few times.
Yep, they're working on it. I don't know why they're taking as long as they are, but I'm in the process of working with them to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, there might need to be a more fundamental update, in addition to what's, being done. But there might be grant funds out there for it.
We can get $50,000 from the state.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, my personal opinion is we should possibly consider giving this task to the Cable, Internet, and Cellular Service Committee. They've been working themselves on proposing an expanded charge. I think they want to bring that to the board fairly soon. They would like to be more of an take an advisory role to the select board on all facets of technology. It may be wise to have them take a bit more of a holistic view. You know, Civic Plus, you kind of get stuck in this really rigid framework. And then they just, you know, you just pay them to upgrade every so many years. But we can table it for now. I'm super curious what this, you know, this update refresh is going to look like, but we might want to look at this a bit more down the line.
Rebecca, does the current overhaul um, incorporate some of these concerns such as usability and ADA compliance?
All of them, yep.
Oh, okay.
It's
Um,
state mandated that we become ADA compliant, so that's why we're updating the website. And it's part of the whole overhaul that we paid for back when it was a couple of years ago. And because we did it a few years ago, it's mandated, but we don't have to pay anything extra. So I've been working with them to design the website so that it's more user easy, but also for staff to manipulate the website. That way it's not that as hard as it is right now. Like to get pictures on there, it's just such an old module that it's difficult. So they're trying to upgrade it. And because it is such a dinosaur, it's taking them apparently longer than they thought.
It's ancient.
yeah.
It's
That's
very
being nice.
clunky.
Going into the third goal, improve coordination, scheduling, and productivity. This is an internal goal. This is mostly for us, and the rest of the, you know, the town boards and advisory committees. But just thinking, does the select board want, you know, the select board has a tremendous number of advisory committees that from time to time get advice kind of based on their own personal initiative. Do we as a board want to get into practice of sending them a policy statement or policy goals that we would like for them to advise us on? And so then we can draft what we're looking for from them, and then they have X amount of days, months, etc., to come back to us. I think it could be useful having chaired, you know, a committee that had a new charge but had really no directive from the board. We were kind of left to our own devices for a little bit, and we got lucky. You know, we saw an opportunity, we grabbed onto it, and that became like a whole year's worth of work for us, and it was great. But being on the other side of the table, I think it could be helpful to various chairs of advisory committees to the select board to have a bit more guidance from the board on what the board's looking for from them. And so I think it could be helpful.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah. I'm
Uh,
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely support this. I just want to note that in the past, when we've asked other boards and committees for certain things, it has not gone well. The planning board is a good example where we've asked them repeatedly to weigh in on different things, and it's largely gone nowhere. And then actually the Marine Advisory Committee, when we asked them what some of their priorities were, um, they came back basically asking us to hire a consultant to help them figure out what some of their priorities were. And we were just asking, what do you as users of the marina see as priorities? I don't know. So yeah.
But
I mean,
hey, how long, just for my own clarification, how long ago was that?
So the first time we asked was when Mike was chair. They came back to us like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months later, asking for a consultant. And Mike even presented, I think, to the Marine Advisory Committee twice as to what we were asking. And yeah, but you know, that's rehashing the past.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. I'm just saying that I think there's a lot of things that have changed between now and then. And as liaison, I'd be happy to bring something, bring that to them.
You know, I think your point's well taken on planning. I think planning, Board of Health, ZBA, they're regulatory bodies. They're kind of outside the direct purview of the select board. This is really specifically geared towards the advisory committees to the select board. And I think we do have a responsibility to them to guide them a bit and then also to hold them accountable. Um, this one's an easy win. I think we can do this. We can probably do this next week. I can help. But we're already tied into Microsoft's, stack with our town email. We should be creating an Outlook calendar that just gives fair warning to all select board members that a certain decision that we know is predictable is coming up. We set alerts, so we'll get one 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, etc. So we can just get into a better cadence and we stop getting surprised. I found that there are times in which that, it feels like things kind of come out of nowhere, but we should be able to predict them. For example, this meeting should have happened end of May. And now it's end of October.
Well,
So-
through the chair,
Yeah.
you're right, Josh, but it's not like this hasn't been brought up 3 or 4 times since May.
Mr. Chair, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm trying to set goals and set tasks and actions to achieve them.
Yeah,
I'm really not. I
okay.
think we can do this. So
Ryan?
um, we do need to set our annual schedule. In addition to, I do think there needs to be reminders about when certain things are due or should happen. And I think it would be helpful. And it probably be best even to incorporate them into a policy itself as to when certain things happen, so there's a clear expectation. Um, the one hesitation I have is with Outlook. I have multiple Microsoft accounts, and none of them want to play well together. And yeah, so I don't use Outlook for my calendars because it's they don't play well together.
the reason why I brought up Outlook is that it wouldn't actually have to be on individual members' calendars per se. It could be um it could be created by Rebecca, it could be created by someone on the board, and then everyone would be invited. So you would get an email notification of the alert, and that would serve as the reminder that this is coming up, right? And we could set a cadence. I agree that a policy would be helpful, but it's a triggering system that we already pay for, as opposed to creating a net new piece of software.
If it sends out the reminder via email, that would be fine.
Yep.
But just the accessing Outlook calendars with multiple different accounts is a nightmare.
No,
It's like you have to sign out of one to sign into another with a different organization, and it's frustrating. So
something else to maybe consider is for us to have post-mortem reviews of completed projects. I'm not familiar with the town doing this. I did this a lot, in the private sector. I mean, we just talk about what went well, what didn't go well, what can we improve upon.
I'm going to add to that. I don't think it's a bad thing. But I also think that we should have exit interviews for any employee, for every employee and any board member that leaves.
exit interviews with
Exit
employees
interviews.
is I mean, town council will advise certain things. You can have exit interviews with like individual people, but you typically don't. I mean, there's a whole lot of liability in terms of having exit interviews with the select board.
Well, that's fine, but there should, I'm not saying with us, but with there should be, even on town boards, if someone is leaving and they're leaving because they're done, or they're leaving because they're unhappy, there should be a post, and that should be between the administrator. I'm not saying all with us, but I think that that would be good feedback for the board. Tom could relate it to us. Just throwing it out there. And I have to say, it's 8 o'clock, and I'm going to look for another time of when we're going to come back to this.
I was gonna say,
Unfortunately, I do have to go. I have to have a hard stop at 8.
there's 3 more pages just on Josh's.
I know. So
I second Sheila's suggestion.
thank you. It's been 2 hours. I think we can do another 2 hours some other time. But we have to realize it's going to be 2 hours.
Josh, did you skip one? Institutionalized annual goal setting? That's a quick one.
Oh yeah, I mean, I mentioned it in passing. It was kind of a, but yes, I think we need to, just as a policy,
Help
just say,
tighten
that, you know,
ship.
the 4 weeks after town election, everyone gets together and sets goals. Because I think we should have goals at the beginning of the fiscal year for the fiscal year. I mean, we're already well into the fiscal year 26, and we're just talking about our goals for the fiscal year. So we're kind of on the back foot. I think that would be.
I think that would be a benefit too to new members that got elected to the select board in that election cycle.
Yep.
To help focus.
Agreed.
Would have benefited me when I got on. Okay, well, very good. Then Josh will take up
I mean,
from there.
you know, give me some guidance on this, because I don't have to go through this line by line. I mean, I can create I can create a scoring matrix if the board wants, and just ranks it. Is this a 5 or is this a 1? And we can, blast through this in 15 minutes. I don't mean to take up anybody's time with.
No, I think this works. I think creating a scoring matrix would actually complicate things. So you put this together. Most of these items have generated discussion, which to me says it's something we should consider. So I just think we need more time.
I agree. And I think that, Ryan was suggesting, if I may, that Josh and he get together and kind of whatever they want to consolidate any of the rest. And
yeah, there are a number of similarities between Josh's and mine.
So why don't you guys do that and propose some times, and I'm happy to jump in and finish this up and listen to John's and others as well. So I don't have anything really that's gonna. I only have like 1 or 2 because they're pretty much out there, and with that, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Right before we do that, can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
If Ryan and I are going to get together, I think that's great. Now help me navigate OML, because I still find it to be ridiculous sometimes that we can't communicate with each other. Would it be appropriate if everyone else wanted to share any goals that they didn't find in the packet between my proposal and Ryan's proposal? If there's anything that's missing, can we forward that to Tom, please?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think that's any kind of a violation.
And before we adjourn, I'd also recommend trying to figure out when our next meeting might be, that where we try to set these goals as well. I don't know if it will fit on a regular select board meeting or not.
It will not.
But the sooner that we can complete this process, the better.
Yeah, I don't think we should try to combine it with a regular meeting.
So then, it would be helpful if we figured out a time that works for everybody tonight, because doing it after the fact is hard. But if we can figure out a time tonight where we will set our next goal setting meeting, I think that would be a major benefit.
How does the 29th
We say next Monday night.
we have an executive session from 6 to 7:30 next Monday.
Right.
And then we have
Sewer commission on Tuesday.
commission, yep. So
Wednesday, the 29th.
You also have
is-
a public hearing on the 28th.
Yep.
And then you have the sewer commissioners after, just
Right, you
friendly
gotta do
reminder.
the
Tax
Public
rate.
hearing.
tax
Correct.
rate,
What's the public hearing?
the
Tax
tax rate
setting.
setting.
The what?
Splitting,
The what?
it's with the assessors to set the, how we're gonna apportion
Rebecca.
taxes. to
Tax rate,
commercial
tax rate.
resident-
All right,
Right,
what's
so me
that?
first, thank you. Second, do you want me to accidentally?
It's the tax rate and the residential tax exemption.
What time is that?
6.
I have the sewer commission at 6 on, oh no, that's on Tuesday. I'm sorry. No, yeah, on Tuesday at 6, I
Yeah,
have sewer
nope,
commission.
the 6 PM is your public hearing. That should only take you no more than 20 minutes. And
Well, then
then I
when-
have your sewer commissioners at 6:30 right after that.
Oh, okay.
Rebecca, does the meeting you just said, the tax rate meeting?
Yeah.
Does that include any discussion of RTE?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I
yep.
think there is potential for that to be more than a 20-minute meeting.
Okay,
Mhm.
You bet.
So do we want to push sewer commission back to 7 to be safe?
This is what I go through.
Oh, I'll leave that to the powers that be. Do we want to meet again on the 29th? Wednesday, the 29th?
Wait, Wednesday, the 29th?
Yep.
Okay, I have class Wednesdays and planning board meetings, Truro planning board meetings every other one, so the Wednesdays are not great.
Yeah,
It's
and I
the
have
only-
Thursdays
Maurice
aren't
is
good
at
either.
4.
Okay.
Thursday nights I have class.
I'm out of the country the following week.
What week is that?
It's going to be the 31st to the 8th. I'm trying to make myself available, but I just don't have my schedule as of yet.
All right, Rebecca, I sent you a list of dates that I know I can't make due to
Yep.
ZBA meetings, so I'm just looking at that right now, but if anything comes up between now and whenever, you can always work off this list.
Okay,
What
that
about,
works. And do you want this to stay virtual? Is it easier that way?
I think so.
what about Monday, November 10th?
I am available
September 10th,
November 10th.
November 10th.
Works for me.
excuse me, November,
That
Yeah,
works for
that's
me.
fine.
September's behind us. I believe that works for me as well.
That will be virtual.
Either way.
Oh, wait a minute, I won't be here. I'm gonna be in Dallas, sorry. I won't be here from, Friday, the 7th until I come back on the 10th, on the 11th.
Okay,
But you guys, if you want to go ahead and do it without me, that's fine. If I could try to zoom in, I would, but don't. You still have a quorum here.
And if everyone wants to do it during the first week of November, I've said my piece. I've submitted what I think could be goals. I generally trust everybody on path forward, so I don't have to be present. You gave me more than enough time to speak tonight.
Well, I think we all discussed your proposals, but I appreciate you and Brian having put your proposals, together.
One variable in my schedule, which I'll try and pin down tomorrow if I can, is that sometime in the second week of November is when I'm going to be pulling my boat. And that's going to I'll probably be tied up the better part of whatever day that is. So I'll try and determine when that is. And if I can do that tomorrow, Rebecca, I'll let you know.
Okay,
In our other meeting.
Sewer Commission, did we decide it's going to be 7 o'clock?
At night?
Yeah. I
on the
just want-
28th, so that you have an hour for your hearing.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, if that's what we determined, I just want to make sure it's in my calendar.
Yeah. Did we set the next goal setting meeting?
No,
Not yet.
Regional schools is on the 27th, 28th. Yeah, so we did not, we had it at 5 o'clock. Was that what it was? Our last meeting?
we don't have a date yet.
I know, but the last sewer commission was at 5, am I right?
But we talked
Started at
about doing
5:30.
it at 6.
6.
Yeah,
Does
doing
that work?
it at 6.
Does that work for everybody on the 28th? Or would you
No,
rather
we have to
7?
do it at 7 because we have a public hearing at 6 for the tax rate and the residential tax
Right.
exemption.
All right, then I'm okay with doing it at 7, or we do it at 5.
No,
Yeah, your meeting will take more than an hour.
Okay. So I'm fine with 7.
And
but
what
let's-
date? I'm losing the thread.
The 28th.
that's about the sewer commission meeting, and so we need to just focus on the goal setting meeting. So we can set a date for that, please.
Okay. Admin, do you want to propose a date?
Yeah, let me
Or-
look at the calendar.
Thank you.
Like Fridays actually work well for me right now. And Fridays and Mondays generally.
This particular Friday isn't good for
Hey.
me.
Yeah, I know this particular Friday's,
No,
Oh.
the following Friday is not
Friday,
31st and.
Friday night
Halloween.
or Friday during
It's
the day?
Halloween.
I'll
Well,
be on
just-
an airplane, but
But with respect, when we say Fridays, are we talking about Friday evening or Friday during the day?
Never.
I prefer in the evening.
No, I prefer not.
That's,
On a Friday night, I don't think so.
Weekend.
I agree with Sheila. Plus also, I mean, these are public meetings also, and members of the public, I don't think it's reasonable to expect anyone who's interested to tune in on Friday night, which is, generally a family thing.
Right, the end of the week.
Personally, I'm not crazy about it either.
No, it's a night that you're looking forward to because it's the end of your work.
Yeah, and if Friday works in the middle of the day, I can take some time off, I
Right.
can do it on a Friday. So if there's time during the day on a Friday that it works for everyone else, let's do that.
I can do it during the day as well.
Yeah, I should be okay with that.
So how's a week from Friday?
I'll be on an airplane, but
And that doesn't work. I would like for Josh to be able to
Yeah,
attend
what
this
about-
too.
So Josh, when are you out?
I'm out the 31st to the 8th.
What about this coming Friday?
I'll be on
can't
an
do that.
airplane.
No, the 24th.
Oh, that I
can't
can
do
do.
that.
Yeah.
Sorry, what day is that?
For the
It's the
24th.
24th, but Tom has training. He'll be
Yes.
in
Holyoke.
Holyoke,
Holyoke.
sorry.
So
Oh.
we're talking about October 24th, which is what day of the week?
Friday.
This
The
Friday.
What about
I-
Halloween on during the day?
No, it's not this Friday.
Yeah, I could do that.
I'll be on an airplane.
You're on an airplane.
I'm on an airplane the 31st and the 7th.
He's
and the
leaving
8th.
on a
My
jet
best
plane.
friend
He
is
doesn't
getting
know when he'll
married
be
in
back.
Yeah, we're
Hawaii.
not, no. So that Friday is out. That Friday's out. Josh is not available per se. So we got another Friday, fine.
I should be available that Tuesday because I'm 12 hours. I'm only 6 hours. However, the time worked, I don't have to go to an airport that day, so I should be available.
Where did
Tuesday,
you say you were
second.
going for this wedding?
I'm going to Hawaii.
Nice.
Oh.
Don't feel
We-
bad. My best friend's marrying a lovely person who's Hawaiian, so they're having the wedding in Hawaii. And
What island?
Sounds great.
the wedding's on the Big Island. I'll be in Kauai during
Okay.
our select board meeting.
You're talking about November 2nd? No, that's the Sunday.
It's the
November 4th,
Okay, that's election day, but that's all right.
right.
Actually, Josh, I think you should do a retreat for us in Hawaii.
Yeah, Which does that mean? Stay there?
Board
You,
retreat.
you really like my proposals that much, Tom, huh?
The only way, I have some good friends in
sorry, I
Hawaii.
couldn't
That's
help
the only
that.
way I can see getting to them.
No, Sheila, it was the perfect setup. You hit the pitch out of the park. All right.
You know, we can do it when you come back.
We can do it when he gets back.
We can do it when you come back. We could do it, well, we can't do it Monday or Tuesday. I'm coming back. We could, the Friday the
We can't
14th.
do it Wednesday because
Can't
Am
do
I
it
ma-
Wednesday because of classes, can't do it Thursday because of classes unless. we do
Okay,
it during
I
the
could do it
day.
the 14th anytime in the day. That's a Friday.
What about November
of
4th?
November.
Classes at 6, so I could do like a 4 o'clock, 2 hours.
And November 4th, you have a regular select board meeting.
Oh,
yep.
I propose either the 13th, well, you can't do the 13th, but the 14th is a Friday during the day. I can do if Barbara can do and everyone else.
Yeah, Friday during the day, I accept whatever it is.
Okay.
The 14th.
But give them a minute to find out why it's no good.
2, what time then? 2, 1?
I'm okay.
Immaterial to me.
Yeah,
One
me
works
too.
if it works for you.
Let's do 1.
1 o'clock. Perfect.
I want everybody to say the date and time
Yeah.
before we get off.
I
the
know, yeah, or can we get, Rebecca, when you get a chance,
We'll
can you
send you
send us
one.
an email? Yeah.
The 14th, November 14th at 1 o'clock.
phone. All right.
I'm telling you, folks, Outlook calendars.
all right,
It's back to the
November
future.
You know, we're
14th.
busy people, hard to get us pin us down.
I have on planes.
All right. With that, I guess I move, Mr. Chair, if you'll entertain it, and move to adjourn.
Section.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, aye.
Ryan, I.
Gosh,
And John, I.
Excellent. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.